Evil robot mug. Evil robot mug. You see how he kind of has a evil robot mug face. Maybe not. Let's see, this gloomy day in October, the year of our Lord 2023, we are going to ink something. For this is a month of ink. October ink projects. Many art projects happen this month. It is, you cannot keep up with them all, or at least I can't. But anyway, Inktober, Arttober, Comicstober, Halloween-tober. You can put Tober with anything, behind anything. I mean, it's multi-purpose. It's a multi-purpose word. So let's be grateful for that. Thank you, Inktober. Thank you, October. You've done it again. Yeah, you're the best. Okay, let's get to work. I drew this morning. I was like, what am I gonna draw? And so I came up with this. I have this little character called Pumpkin Ghost, and I came up with this little gag. And as you can clearly see here by the well-defined thumbnail, Pumpkin Ghost is scared of a small spider, but he's jumping backwards and does not realize that he's about to bump into a much larger spider who is reading a book and having some tea. So, but he's not a nice spider, okay? Just because they read books and drink tea doesn't mean that they're a nice spider. Or does it? I don't know. I think it's gonna end. I think they're gonna run. I think Ghost Pumpkin's gonna have to run. And which reminds me, I never drew any little ghost kitties or little creatures, so I'll have to do that. Oh gee, which to use? Let's see. All right, this is. I'm gonna use old reliable here. This is a really incredible pen, and you can see here it has a tip for this tip here is for, you know, really good detail, stuff like that. It also has a huge thick to thin ratio. But if that's not enough thick to thin for you, there is this side, which is a brush of doom. So okay, so you can see here, so I scanned in that scribble that I made. It's called a thumbnail because it's the size of a thumbnail, and I blew it up really big in the computer in Photoshop, and I drew up these guys, and I didn't record my screen, so you'll have to just believe me. And I drew up these guys, and now I'm going to ink them and then possibly post it. So I think I'll do a few easy areas here to kind of warm up, you know. Okay, so yeah, warm-ups. You got your horizontal. You got your vertical. Nope, strike that, reverse it. You got your vertical. Okay, cut that out. You got your horizontal lines. Get your motor function all used to that. Vertical, motor function all used to that. You can do it with your arm, do it with your hand. Your ellipses, which is a fancy word for circle. Okay. I think I'm ready to try, and I'm just going to lay in the easy lines. Try to get used to inking, because whenever I turn on the camera I get nervous, and I don't know why. It's ridiculous. It's just me here, I hope. Okay. Just gonna glide along here. I'm going to push it pretty hard to get those crazy thick lines, kind of get used to how thick I can make things. But also just barely even touch the paper. I know these are leaves, I know these are bushes, but I don't want to draw every leaf. As far as the functional drawing are, they're interesting lines. They'll hopefully guide you down into our little pumpkin ghost here. Just kind of holding it loosely, scumbling. I think this side can kind of have little jaggedies on it, but this side does not have these jaggedy bits. Okay, spider thread. Keeping it pretty straight, but I still wanted to have some thick and thin, some texture. Even though real artist, a real spider thread is quite invisible. Okay, I must be getting more comfortable because I drew the eyes first without even thinking about it. And so that's getting into the zone, which is where we want to be. Get into that draw mode. The blue note, as Beethoven called it, the alpha wave state. I have little striped legs. This little spider. I've been drawing this spider for a long time. I don't know when I first came up with them. I think I was trying to make spiders not scary because I'm kind of scared of spiders. They are most unnatural. So we are in the forest. There's ambient light, but it's mostly coming down from above. It's misty, it's rainy. I'm thinking about the light, even though I'm just drawing in black and white. I'm thinking that the light is hitting all these shapes and causing shadow to gather on the bottom, casting shadow from one leg onto the other, and indicating that drawing that in will actually push one leg behind the other. How fuzzy should I make them? I want to make them really fuzzy. But I don't want to lose the silhouette, so. I like putting these little dots. I don't know, they just kind of show motion. So it's an old cartoonist trick. Okay, that's good. Explanation points. He's absolutely stunned, completely scared and startled that he ran into this spider. He doesn't know that there's a much bigger one right here, and he's going to go poof, and the spider's going to spill his hot tea all over him and drop his book. And his book, what does his book say? Well, let's tell you when we get there. Unless you can read, then you probably know what it says right now. Or maybe this orange doesn't show up that well on the camera. Orange for pumpkins and October. Get it? Orange? Yeah. See, much thicker line on the other side. See, I'll get this little unit ball here. Kind of, it's great for scribbling. So I'm just cross-hatching, kind of shading things in. If you draw with it on its side, it has this really thin line. You know, the tip of it, instead of drawing straight down, draw it on the side. And it creates these really nice marks. Yeah. Sort of imperfect marks that are so much fun. In my head, I think this little robe he's wearing is made of leaves, but I don't want to draw all the individual leaves. But imagine how cool it sounds when it's moving around. All leafy, all... He's like, oh, how's it going? Yeah! If I want him to look really stressed out, I could put some kind of teardrops. That's another little cartoonist language. Little sweat marks coming out. And that cartoonist language communicates funny emotions, you know, stuff that's not really there. It doesn't, I mean, it's not like real emotions or sweat marks coming out, but we kind of sweat when we get emotional and freaked out maybe a little bit, so maybe that communicates. Since we don't have sound, we only have black and white line. Use any method of emotional communication you can. All the tricks, everything. Kind of switching my hand. Get used to the, okay, hands. They have a certain motor function. They have certain ways they like to move, you know that. And so if I want lines going this way, I move my hand into that position, and then I can get some nice zippy lines with a lot of dynamic motion, a lot of energy. So when you sit and practice and you just sit around, make marks or doodle or whatever, you can kind of, you'll get your hand used to moving. You'll get used to how your hand moves, what kind of marks it makes. guess I could finish this grass out. Just think of the letter M and then forget how to make that mark. And you've got grass. Oh, let's put a bush right here. Look at the kind of crazy marks you can get out of this ballpoint pen. This part of the bush will be kind of be a little bit in shadow. You see I'm switching my hand, pulling it towards me, pulling the lines towards me. And then letting, so I start hard, I start big line against the paper, and then I let up on the pressure, right? And that's your sense of touch in art. And you develop that over time. You might be a heavy writer or a soft writer, but as you develop your art skills, you control how heavy and how soft your marks are. And the more you do it, the more better, the better you get at it. Until your eye-hand coordination becomes pretty good. And these little leaves be kind of in shadow, pushing. Let's push forward. As long as there's just some indication of what environment this is. That's all this needs to be. Maybe I should have taped this down. It's not moving around too much, I hope. So it's not distracting. These are sort of fan outs. It just comes like that, and use that for a lot of cross hatching. A lot of fun shapes can be made with that motion. Let's see. Put some little happy sticks right there. Looks like I originally intended this to have a bunch of branches sticking out of it. Well, okay then. Let's see if I can honor the intentions of my past self. Trees are really tricky, little tree branches. You're trying to avoid similarity. You're trying to avoid having the same thing on the opposite side. Symmetrical. You're trying to avoid things that are symmetrical. And you're also trying to not put anything in the middle. You're trying to make everything not even. And try not to think about it too much. But It's kind of a lot to think about. This ink is drying too fast on this paper for me to do my little fingerprinting trick that I like to do. But no matter. All right, let's get Daddy Spider here done. This is supposed to go in here. You know, it comes off of here and then it actually fits into there like that. And I've been holding it this whole time. Sometimes if you're feeling a little nervous, you can make a ghost mark. Practice the mark before you actually commit. You know, kind of ghost this. You know, get used to the motion and then attack, and you know, it won't be so scary maybe. Oh man, he's really into this book. Hate to be the guy who interrupts this giant, huge spider. Maybe make him look a little bit grumpy by increasing the shadow underneath the bushy eyebrows there. That also makes him look kind of old and grandpa-y, you know, old and curmudgy spider. I am Curmudgy, the spider. His legs are striped. Guess he's got kind of a unibrow there. Golden hour has started and the sun has peeked out from the clouds, so you're gonna start seeing sunlight kind of creep down here, and there's lots of leaves outside, so it kind of glimmers. And so my new mission now is to finish this before the sunlight and the twinkling, sparkling lights, which are very distracting, get onto my ink drying. Putting some thin lines in next to thick lines. That's a lot of interest in dynamism. Dynamism. Dynamicism. Is that a word? It is now. Okay, focus. Oh yeah, that sun's really come out. This is the foremost leg and object in the piece, so it gets the thickest lines. These are the farthest legs from, so they can afford to be quite sparse, as if they're pushed back into the atmospheric background. Here's a giant tooth. Oh, that sun's coming fast. See that? It's creeping. I don't want to have to stop this and start it again later. For one thing, I'll lose the north light and have to do it tomorrow. You know why north light is so sought after by artists? Of course you do, but I'll tell you again anyway. It's because north light stays the same all day long. So artists have always used it in their studios because that unchanging light is so important. Yeah, it stays the same all day until the end of the day, at which point the sun creeps down all over your drawing. I've got a tangency right here where the book's hitting the mustache, and I don't like that, but can't worry about that now. You think I would be good enough to avoid tangencies by now? But perhaps even the wisest of man and machine can be in error. Perhaps even the wisest of man and machine can be in error. Let's see, this leg is holding the cup somehow. I'm not going to worry about it. All right. How many legs do we have here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like I accounted for all 8, but I don't want to put another leg right there. So I think the leg is somewhere behind him, if anyone's asking. Did you know that's what they did with the octopus on Finding Dory 2? They wouldn't use all 8 legs half the time. They figured they could just get away with the front 2 and the back 2, and then they kind of fudge the other ones. Saved a lot of time on rendering too. At least that's what the Pixar guys told us. All right, I think I'll go back to this Uniball pen that you can get at any grocery store or Walmart or wherever, because it has a narrow tip and it has a lot of control. Because now I'm going into edit mode, and I'm going to edit the final lines and try to improve things and minimize other things. Oh, let's see the title. Good idea. I'm dyslexic, so I need to always double check myself. I was so bad at spelling, even though I had a ridiculous vocabulary, that my teacher actually let me use my high school teacher let me use a spelling calculator that I bought from Radio Shack. So that's the way it used to be long, long ago. But you must have to be pretty bad for your English teacher to let you cheat. Okay, we're going to cross hatching and shading. Just going to add a few things here and there to pop some things forward and push some things back. I mean, he looks happy right now, but in a few seconds, one second, he's going to be very grumpy. You may forget that pumpkins are friends, not food. Say like the sun's coming, or the light's coming down here, and it's casting a shadow from this leg in the foreground to this leg in the background. And were that to happen, I need to figure out where the shadow goes, but I also need to figure out where to put the shadow so it doesn't really create any tangencies or interfere with the stripes and other things that I've placed there. So maybe I won't. Maybe I shouldn't do that. What the heck. I don't know if it'll read, but maybe it'll kind of feel right. Yeah, not bad. Okay. This one's also casting a shadow. There's kind of there was a saying that we'd have while I was making video games. You don't have octopuses or spiders, because especially on PS2 and 1, you know, because the really couldn't handle the 8 legs. I mean, 2 legs were hard enough for those old machines, but you know, 8 legs, like they'll explode. You know, the massive explosion problem all over the world, or something. I don't know. Okay. I'm just following the center of the sphere right there, following it down and around. That's how I know where and how to make my marks. Wish this paper didn't absorb so fast so I could get some greasy, grimy fingerprints on this. Oh well. Let's see. How to cook pumpkin soup. If only I had a pumpkin. But a pumpkin's not gonna just fall out of the sky. Or is it my process? Okay. Alright. I'm calling that good. It's hard to stop sometimes. I think if I go any further, it'll be too far. All right. Time for the signature. All right, pretty good. Thanks for watching.